Hey there. This is Brandon Everett. I'm the founder of Be Mindful, and this is Saturday Morning Mindfulness. This morning's class is about, oftentimes people pick up practicing mindfulness meditation, or they pick up yoga, something like this. And incredibly, mindfulness practice can, in a matter sometimes of a few minutes, and then especially if you practice each day over the span of days and weeks, you can notice a big shift in terms of relief from stress and even chronically held tension, which for many people is, and I know this was my experience, just astounding. Because I remember when I first was learning about mindfulness and meditation, I'd been through a lot. I was, a nurse working in intensive care, and there were a lot of things that I was not able to work with in a way that were very healthful. I had a lot of stress and anxiety that I had no idea how to work with. So just to get, unburdened of kind of all the stress, the tension, the anxiety I was experiencing, that in itself was like well worth the practice. But as I continued to practice, and this would be your experience too, the longer you practice, the better you get, the easier it gets to come into a state of being at ease, relaxed, calm, all great stuff. But we can come to this moment where we kind of go, is this it? Am I done? Right? Is that the end of mindfulness and meditation? And the wonderful thing is, really, that is just a fresh beginning when we come to that point. So we unburden the stress and tension. We finally feel relaxed, maybe for the first time in a long time. And when that sense of, is this enough? Am I done? Creeps in, it actually means it's time for us, the opportunities available for us really, to go deeper. And the metaphor that I use is, if we were tending a garden, right? So we want to plant a beautiful garden, we want to bring up some beautiful flowers. The first thing we do is we prepare the soil, right? We pull up the weeds. So practicing mindfulness, finding that sense of ease, well-being, mental clarity, unburdening, all of that is like pulling the weeds, tending the soil. Now, it's time to plant some flowers. What I mean by that is, we start to cultivate states of being, states of mind that are really healthful and nourishing. We could take the stance that, I just feel the way I feel. If I feel good, that's okay. If I don't feel good, that's fine too. But when we do that, when we take that perspective, we're kind of saying like, whatever hand life wants to deal me, I just accept it for what it is. And in a sense, we're kind of letting life externally dictate how we feel internally. But we can actually use a meditation practice to go, you know what? I'm letting my outside circumstance dictate how I feel. What if I took it from the other direction? What if I started to cultivate how I wanted to feel? And so I would argue that if relieving stress and tension is pulling weeds, that deciding to cultivate states of mind and states of being that are healthful and nourishing, that is you planting flowers. You're saying, I'm not going to let how I feel kind of be determined by the whim and wend of the day. Because all types of things happen all day long that are outside my control. Why would I let my emotional being, my mental health, be left up to, the whim of the world, whatever's going on that day? So in this morning's guided mindfulness practice, we're going to begin with some classical mindfulness, just bringing our attention into the moment, connecting with the feeling of the body. If we notice that there's any tension, any sense of bracing in the body, we'll invite that tension to let go. And then as we connect with the body being relaxed and at ease, the second half of the practice, I'm going to invite you to cultivate the mental state that is joy. I'm going to invite you to call to mind during the course of the week an interaction you had, something you saw, something you experienced that like delighted you, inspired you. And to just feel that, to connect with the felt sense of what it feels like to be connected, to be in enjoyment, and in connecting with it, to be nourished by it. So again, in this sense, we're kind of pulling weeds and planting flowers. We're kind of taking control, or at least having more of a say in how we feel more of the time. But don't take my word for it. Let's check this out. So I'll invite you to begin this guided practice by just coming into a relaxed, seated posture. So kind of setting yourself up. And when you feel your posture settled, you could gently close your eyes. I'm going to invite you to bring your attention to a few areas of the body where we commonly hold tension. And if when I bring your attention to that area of the body, you notice any felt sense of holding or bracing, see if, like inviting a clenched fist to soften, you could invite the tension to release and let go. So sitting comfortably, eyes gently closed, first guiding your attention to feel across your forehead and your temples. And if you notice any tension, like your brow is furrowed or your temples are tense, see if you could invite that tension to soften, to let go. If you notice any tension around your eyes, in the muscles around the eyes, in the muscles behind the eyes, again, noticing tension, inviting a softening, letting go. Is there any tension, any bracing in your jaw, in your neck, or in your shoulders? Just noticing the tension as an invitation, a permission to invite it to unburden. Jaw softening, neck softening, shoulders softening. Is there any tension in your chest? In the bones of the rib cage and the muscles between? Is there any tension in the belly or the low back? Noticing tension, inviting softening. Finally, is there any tension in the area of the hips? So if there's any sense of bracing or tension in the hips, letting go. For the next few moments, the next few breaths, notice within your body that shift, the felt sense of the body opening, softening, lightening. Notice that beneath that tension, beneath that sense of bracing, there's openness and ease. All right, and now I'm going to invite you to call to mind the happiest moment of the past week. So going through that Rolodex of moments that you've experienced. Maybe you got coffee with a friend, you took your dog for a walk, maybe you had a nice quiet night reading a good book. But in your experience, what was your happiest moment of the last week? And then notice how just calling that to mind, you might notice a smile comes to the face, comes to the lips. Notice the felt sense of happiness and joy. What does it feel like to smile? Is happiness and joy energizing? Notice that. Notice too, in and around the space of your heart, any felt sense of warmth, openness. So again, call that wonderful, that happiest moment of the week to mind. Picturing it clearly like you're there again. And then on your next in-breath, take the perspective that any feeling of warmth, of joy, begins to fill the body. Breathing in, the body is filled with joy, filled with warmth, happiness, excitement. Breathing out, the body is invited to settle in, relax, and just be. And then on your next in-breath, another warm wave, a wonderful breath of joy, happiness, excitement, warmth. Breathing out, the body settles in. So continue in just this simple way. Breathing in, inviting the goodness to wash within the whole body, carried in by the in-breath. Breathing out, the body's invited to settle, relax, and be. And if your attention wanders to another thought, what you have to do later today, or a part of you isn't sure whether this is real or not, see if again you can call that wonderful moment, that happiest moment to mind. As you breathe in, it fills your body and mind. As you breathe out, the body relaxes, simply wonderfully present in the moment. And then if you feel so bold, you could set the intention in just the same way that that person or that pet or that book brought me so much joy and happiness. May I be a source of joy and happiness for the people I encounter today. And may it be so. And so having set that intention, I now invite you to once more gently open your eyes. So with this morning's mindfulness class, the intention was twofold. As is so often the case, we're practicing mindfulness, connecting with our body in the moment, inviting tension to release and let go. And then today we explored cultivating happiness, cultivating joy, pulling weeds of tension and stress, planting flowers of happiness and joy, so that more often, in more situations, we feel uplifted, present, rather than kind of dragged around by what's going on around us in life. So for those that tuned in, thank you so much for checking out class this morning. I hope it was of benefit. And if you enjoyed class, please give it a share, and till our paths cross again. Take care.